Hey there. Hey Cody. Okay. I don't know what to do. So the thing is with making it I don't even know which window to look at. The thing is with making it for the Patreons only. The thing is heading home, etc. Yeah, that's probably true. But I just wanted to get in the habit of doing these regularly so people know to expect them and so on and so forth. I hate it when people, like on Kickstarters, you contribute money and then you don't see anything for it. So I wanted to at least, maybe I should have given them more notice, but I was just in the mood to I'm replying to a comment to start doing these so people know it's a thing. Let's see, what did I want to talk about? I don't know that I really have anything to talk about, and there's only 3 of you watching, so if you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask me. I think that people who are subscribers of mine on YouTube are going to get notifications about this, I think. So there should be a lot of people in here soon, which isn't fair to the Patreon people, I guess. So I don't even really know what to do. This is obviously, this is very new. This is the first one, so it's very new to me. Yeah. What do I like best about you? The fact that you used to be a conservative and now realize how bad that was. But if I tweet, so here's the question: if I'm tweeting this, if people are paying the Patreon, ostensibly this is not for. Do you think? Let me ask you guys: do you think people would be comfortable with Patreon only gets the live stream after the fact, but everyone gets access to the live stream at the time? Are they paying and not getting their money's worth? Does that make sense? You know what? I'll tweet it out. I'm not sure about live stream or regular YouTube videos can be set on. Right. So what I'm saying is I'm fine either way. You're building an audience. Okay, I'm going to tweet it out because no one's here and I feel like there's literally tens of thousands of people who could be watching. So I'm going to tweet it out right now. Live streaming now. Okay, that's tweeted out. So the Patreon is not for access, is to support you creative content. Okay, see, that's the whole. So there's 2 philosophies. One is you're paying for, is what you're disagreeing with, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't know how people think of this. One is you're paying for access, and the other one is, which is, so these live streams will be only for those people. The other is you're paying just to support someone, kind of like how you tip a waiter. At the same time, I think the best of both worlds, I don't think people would be too upset, is I can tweet out the live stream, but after the fact, you have to have the link directly to watch it, and only the Patreon people could have that. I think that's a fair-ish compromise, I hope. I don't know what people really want, and I'm more than happy to be receptive to other points of view. Yeah. Okay, so what can we talk about? Let's talk about the new show. I was going to announce the name, and I was on Kumia's show yesterday, and Anthony said no, not to. People don't look to you for rules. I think they do. I'm a harsh dictator. I was on Anthony's show yesterday, and or maybe I could do live streams, and then you have some live streams only for the Patreon people. I don't know. I was in Kumia's show yesterday, and he told me not to announce the show name on the show, which was weird because, I mean, the next week Kumia has off. So there's not going to be any possibility to announce the name of the show before the show, and I would have been glad to do so, but he specifically said no, so I don't know what's going on there. I do like my haircut. Thank you. Um, it comes down to a V in the back, which you can't see from the front. Um, it's going to be 4 nights a week. It's going to be airing at 11 o'clock. They're moving In Hot Water to like 9 or something crazy. You could do a part of the live stream. You can make a thread in the... Okay, I think, Cody, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay, I think that's a great idea, Cody. Thank you. In Hot Water is going to be on the morning. 4 days a week. I'm on at 11 o'clock, 4 days a week. What I am very much going to do is try to imitate Gavin's old show. Because he's gotten more with CRTV necessarily. He's gotten much more mainstream. He has to kind of rein it in, understandably. And I think that's fair. But I think that also provides an opportunity because I think a lot of people subscribe to Compound Media to get... all that kind of edgy right-wing stuff that Gavin used to cover, and he broke a lot of people. I don't mean broke psychologically. I mean he broke out a lot of people from anonymity on his show. I'm pretty sure he broke Milo, Laura Loomer, Ramrance, a few others, Lauren maybe, and I think a lot of people responded to it. So, are you open to musical theme intros to consider? No. I have an intro and I have an outro already. I can actually tell you the... this is also drives me crazy. So there was a band named Saint Etienne, which I really, really liked. And they were huge record fans. And what they did was they would release these little, like, 7 inches or whatever, and 7-inch records, and in very limited quantities... because what they wanted to do was to have that experience of going to different record stores and tracking down those 7-inch records. So when I had my my intro music to my show, it drives me crazy when people are like, oh, this is the name of the band and the song. It's like part of the fun of having an obscure song is forcing people to do the work and find it. That said, the new musical theme is not going to be obscure. I haven't run it by Compound. I don't think it's going to be a problem. The band is going to be Matt and Kim. They have a song called Tonight, just called Tonight, and there's a great part of the refrain. And the outro you will have to hear to believe. It's really, really funny and really, really apt. I'm very excited for the show. I actually haven't had a day job, meaning like a daily job. I can't remember the last time. It might have been like 8 years. I mean, something crazy like that. So that's going to be weird, having to completely reorient my life for this. But I'm also really excited because I think there's so many of those shows on the networks, and you know what they're going to say, and it's going to be boring. So I'm going to try to bring my own unique sensibility, such as it is, to the show. Yeah. What else? I got email from my editor yesterday about the book. He was bringing it forward to the sales team. I can't even get into it anymore, but he is also going to, so hopefully it's going to come out later this year. It's going to be it's going to be very, very radical, and put forth a lot of crazy ideas. There's like one chapter I've mentioned before. It's called The Case Against Democracy. So, I like the Stoicism episode of You're Welcome, but a lot of it went pretty off topic. Well, I mean, the topic wasn't really Stoicism. Ryan has like 5 books, so his thought is very, jack of all trades. And I'm in a similar way. Like, on the one hand, when I was on Joe Rogan, I was talking about North Korea, which is obviously my wheelhouse. But I can also go on at length, as most of you have learned by now, about marine zoology and fancy denim. So it might be off topic, but it's not areas of where the person doesn't have credentials and expertise. And Ryan is just one of the greatest thinkers I know. I've had it out with him. I'm using the wrong expression. I've argued with him at length, and not just fish. There's lots of other things in the ocean besides fish. And we really had a big argument at the Civil War, and he's very pro Civil War. So I definitely have to have him on to discuss that, and to discuss being a salesman. He's very, very good at that, and issues of that nature. What else do I have to? I just came into this cold because I again wanted to throw something out there for the Patreon people, and it's Friday at 5:44 p.m. So this is pretty. It's interesting. I'm also interesting to learn the dynamics of how people watch live streams, because on the one hand, usually when I threw it up, I would have 200 immediately. Now I have 40. At the same time, I've given people no notice, and at the same time also, it's like 5:45 on Friday, and as you said, Warren, people are coming home from work and so on and so forth. So that's going to affect the number of people who are here. It's interesting that there's more people on like at 11 o'clock on a Friday than are on at 5:45 on a Friday. It's kind of this in-between two chairs situation. What else did I want to talk about? Next week on the show, I have Kathy Young, who if you don't know Kathy, she's very she's a moderate libertarian, I would call her. She's gotten into it really hard on Twitter with Lauren Southern, with Kurt Schlichter. She's gone after Milo, which that's understandable. And she's very feisty. And when I was talking to her on Twitter, I met her at this event, this kind of event for conservatives, and she's friends with Bethany Mandel, who I've had on, and Carol Markowitz, who I've had on. And Thorgy, I'm not getting Thorgy. You're right. I've met Thorgy before. Thorgy's it's not fun. And when I talked to her, on Twitter just recently, she's just like, I mentioned that is she more moderate than Dave Smith? Is there such a thing? I mean, even his name is moderate. So, I talked to her okay, thank you for letting me know about that. When I talked to her on Twitter, I tweeted back and forth with her. I made the point that political discourse being difficult is a net positive from Trump, and she's like, "Why would you say that?" And I just said, "Because I'm an anarchist," and she's like, "Well, stop trolling me," and I'm just like, I'm not. So I'm very curious to hear someone on the right who's bright, who's a libertarian, who is just a priori dismissive of anarchist ideas beforehand, especially because people like Matt Welch, Robbie Suave, Kennedy, Brian Doherty, I haven't talked about with Nick. I'm sure he'd feel the same way. None of them have issues with anarchism. I mean, they disagree with it, but they aren't like, I know Matt thinks it's crazy, but he doesn't think it's incoherent or just not worth the discussion. You're surprised. So I brought up Mr. A in the question, Steve Ditko's characters on the Stoicism episode, and I do own Ayn Rand's copy of The Fountainhead, and I am a comic book character, so of course I'm going to know about Mr. A. I guess there are only two Randian comic book characters. Three are me, the question, and Mr. A. Is your anarchism similar to Stefan Molyneux's? Is he a real anarchist? You'd have to ask him. He has recently described himself as a nationalist. If he calls himself a real anarchist, he passes for me. Yeah, Rorschach's the fourth one. That's fair. No, I don't think Rorschach's a Randian, even though he's based on the question. Molyneux and I have a very similar intellectual background. I do have a lot of fun on his channel. I like it when he lets his goofy side out. Well, I think he called my ideas silly because we were having a debate, and I don't remember Molyneux calling my ideas silly, or if he said so, he was being ironic or sarcastic. So he and I get along very well. He's not in the book. which is fine. This book's going to be long too. It's going to be like 350 pages, and like every page, I have no idea how it's going to be perceived, because I get along with leftists very well. I'm a New Yorker, you know. And at the same time, to have their ideas be attacked, I don't know. I'm very curious to see the reactions from the left. I would bet money that the worst reactions are going to be from the worst people, the conservatives, especially because I really take them to task. Is particularly William F. Buckley and Whittaker Chambers, who are just the nadir of humanity. So that is going to be, am I narrating it 100%? Especially the Jared Taylor chapter. The idea that in this day and age, Hitlerism would be a model for America is simply fantastic. So yeah, I will absolutely do it in the Jared Taylor voice as well. I'm not going to do the Cantwell voice. I can't do the Ann Coulter voice either, but the Jared Taylor chapter, the new White, 100% I'm going to be doing it in his voice. In fact, when I mentioned this in the book, when I went to Charlottesville and I was worried, I talked to Pax Dickinson. He goes, listen, if the Nazis give you crap, just do your Jared Taylor impression and they'll leave you alone. But they didn't give me crap, although they did tell him not to bring the Jew to the party, which was fine. It's not the first party I wasn't welcome in. Who was your favorite interview for your new book? I didn't do that many interviews, per se. I don't know that I have a good... It was interesting talking to Cantwell. Do I think when it comes out or some other time soon I'll be on Rogan? Yes, definitely. I think I'm going to email him if Kim Jong-un comes to the States. That would be a very organic way to have another episode. Joe is a great, great guy. Who is your producer on your Welcome? Your audio needs work. It sounds sarcastic when I say this on Twitter, so let me say it audibly with a straight face. Yeah, the live stream is being private for the Patreon people. I'm experimenting with that. My producer on your audio needs some work. When there's audio problems, please point them out to me. When I say thank you for pointing it out, I know sometimes it might read as sarcasm, which I actually don't use sarcasm much. I use irony. So thank you for pointing it out. I know one of the issues is with Skype itself. So we're switching to a new program. Yeah. Next time there's a not in studio guest, because Skype apparently with the new upgrade of, this is what I'm being told. I could be talking on my ass. Skype with the new upgrade, it was kind of compensating for itself, is how it was described to me, and therefore the levels keep, kind of like being hungover when your brain starts to compensate with the dopamine or whatever. Any chance on an episode of comic books specifically? I have not read comics since the what was it when Barry Allen came back? What was that? Final Crisis, one of them. So I don't know that I'd have anything to say about... I would love to interview some comic book creators. That might be fun. I mean, I gotta tell you, if the audio is a problem, it makes me insane. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it makes me effing insane. Like, just beyond insane. Not that I'm not insane to begin with. That is a good idea, though. So here's some other people. So one of the people I'm gonna have on, I'm trying to figure out when, is there's a neuroscientist in... Did you ghostwrite David Hogg's book? Oh, God. There's a neuroscientist in Ireland who wrote a book about why torture doesn't work from a science of the mind perspective and the effects it has. So I would love to talk to him about that, because we all talk past each other. Oh, it will work, it won't work. Like, there was that MMA fighter who got waterboarded, and he goes, oh, it's not torture. And it's like, yeah, because you could have left at any time. A large part of it is the difference between sex and rape. A large part of the waterboarding is you can't snap your fingers and say, okay, I'm out. Would it be possible to get Joe Mackey and Sam Morril at the same time? Maybe. I'm not in the near future. I'm trying not to repeat guests. Are people actively posting in the Facebook group yet? And is it as fun as your Twitter? Yes and no. Will you be watching the Ruth Bader Ginsburg movie while it is still in theaters, or have you seen it already? I don't find her interesting at all, and I think it is such an element of propaganda that you prop up her and Bernie Sanders and make them cool when they're these doddering old hippies. And it's so as coming from Russia, it's so transparent that it's embarrassing to me, just trying to put these people over. It's the exact equivalent of like Christian rock. And I'm not even saying that to denigrate Christian rock. Like, I know for a fact, I've never listened to any, that there must be lots of great Christian rock bands. Without question, there's talented people who are religious. That's not hard to say. The point is, there's people who are there trying to get over a message as opposed to actually being talented. And it's obvious that this is what they're doing, and that's fine. And it's exactly the same thing with Ginsburg and Sanders. Yeah, that's correct about the live stream. Okay, I like Tim Kennedy, but I disagreed with his waterboarding thing too. Yeah, and also another thing: if you're a trained person to deal with pain and to deal with extreme psychological stress of someone is trying to, I've not been in an MMA fight. I'm sure mentally, on an emotional level, your brain is thinking this person is trying to kill me, even though it's literally. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't asked about that. So I'm sure you're certainly much tougher than a terrorist. Not that that's one way or another, but it's not a parallel situation. Why did you counter signal Milo's comments on Kumia the other day? Because I think I don't like it that you're saying counter signal, because I think it's important to point out when you agree and disagree. So it wasn't a counter signal. It's that I think if you're going to make a comment or a joke of that nature, it has to land. I don't think it's clever to PayPal someone who's Jewish $14.88. Like, let's suppose I had a reporter who was black and wrote a hit piece on me. To text them a picture of a watermelon is not clever. It just makes me look like an asshole. They're going to double down. They're going to dig their heels in. They're going to show all their friends. They're going to be like, look at this asshole. It's going to get absolutely nothing. Cody Wilson, yes, I would love to get Cody Wilson. What is your favorite state that is not New York? Ontario. So that was my I don't, and the thing with Milo is he's bright. Milo is like one of the cleverest people on earth. How could someone as clever as him not say that in a clever way? And he knows the press does not play fair. He knows the press is looking for any excuse to pervert anything he says. So, you know, it's like I didn't understand where he was coming from, and it was surprising to me, especially as the I also work for the Observer. Milo is great, but is a knee-jerk who simply bashes the left. They're simply but I don't think he simply bashes the left. I think he has a lot of. He's very witty. He's great. So that's the other thing. Milo might be the best person on earth. Top 10 at disarming journalists. Like, when he goes in an interview with these people, they come out in a body bag. So knowing he's capable of this on a world-class level, I didn't. But then I don't know the broader context with his text. So there could have been some backstory that I'm not aware of. So the fact that, but the other thing is the fact that he was driven to give this whole Facebook post, you know, is yeah. Do I agree with Ant about letting evolution take its course in Africa? Okay, this is a perversion of the concept of evolution. Empathy and helping people is part of evolution. There are many species that help intraspecies and interspecies. So the idea that evolution means let sick things die is not accurate. Is the show at Compound still happening or not? July 9th. So I'm very, very excited for that. What is... You people are pretty funny. Okay, I'm going to do this for another 5 minutes, then I'm going to bounce. If anyone disagrees with me about please correct me. I'm very receptive to hearing what I did. If you guys think that I said something wrong. Any tentative release date on your book, and can we get a sneak peek of your thoughts about Jared Taylor? The book comes out, I don't know, hopefully later this year. A sneak peek of my thoughts about Jared Taylor. I thought Jared Taylor, there was more. Here's the thing. I'm not coming at Jared Taylor from a 60 Minutes perspective. So if I'm a 60 Minutes person and I'm hearing his ideas, I would be like, oh my God, like, I don't even know where to begin. You know, I was very familiar with all of these ideas at length. So when I sat down with him, I thought there would be more to it. And I didn't think there was that much to it. At the same time, it is so outside the Overton window that it's understanding that he doesn't have to get into the minutia. I think he's very classy, very bright. He's got this, in person, he's really got this great energy. He's not weak, low energy. What Milo said, the quote was, I believe this is the quote. The Observer texted him a question, and he replied, "I can't wait until gangs of vigilantes start executing journalists." To the journalist, he said, "Are you a Proud Boy? Are you not tall enough to ride that ride?" Yeah, that's why I'm not a Proud Boy, because of my height. Okay, so July 9th is the new show on Compound. We've got Kathy Young. I've got a list of all these names that I'm going to have booked on my show. I'm very excited about it. Dan Soder I'm going to get at some point. Do I have a six-pack again? I have my obliques back in. So my that's the other thing where I differ with the Proud Boys. I am ride or die for Ben Sherman. And they're Fred Perry. And this is like one of the big, great rivalries. So I will always be a Ben Sherman guy. Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. If he had been quoting Mel Gibson, it would have been, funnier. I'm going to try to get Dan Soder on, who's one. I've never met him. He has got that great bit about Russian people in the near future. I don't have my abs back yet, just my obliques, which I'm very happy about. Will Wright from Max's would be a cool fucking guest. I don't know who that is. Ben Sherman is clearly best. I mean, Fred, do you have an aversion to hashtags? A lot of the things you dish out are very hashtag worthy. Yeah, I don't like using them. I don't know that I can articulate a reason, and that's a great question. Why do I not use hashtags? Because I feel like hashtags are bandwagon. You should have Gavin on to talk fashion. Gavin knows his stuff. He had the Street Boners column in Vice for many years. Get Dave Smith on and discuss anarchism. What would Dave Smith know about anarchism? Are you happy Maxine Waters is back? Well, I thought she got banned already. Will you have Eric July soon? Probably not. Eric's not in New York. So if I'm doing remote, I want it to be like... Eric's an ANCAP, so it wouldn't be some huge thing. Thoughts of Supreme Court action lately? I don't even care about the action. I care about the reaction. It is so funny. I'm also very curious. It's also interesting that after this North Korean summit, like, everything North Korea went away. It's gone. Like, no one talks about it anymore. Every day I wonder to myself, would you debate a flat earth guy in the show or crackpots in general? I mean, Hotep Jesus was telling me that slavery didn't really happen and that the Native Americans were mulattoes. So I think that's what most people would refer to that as a crackpot idea. You know about anarchism. Did you see that the Museum of Communism tweeted out that if you talk about Pinochet or have helicopters in your username, you are part of the problem in those words? And it's like, yeah, I mean, Pinochet did. But for him, it's not implausible that Chile would be Venezuela today. That's not an unrealistic situation at all. Does Jeffrey Tucker run that account? I don't think so. I am not a big helicopters guy for real. I think it's. Michael Ian Black. No, he does. Let him talk Let him make his money. More power to him. I don't agree with him. I used to think he was funny. I haven't seen his stand-up in a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if I still thought it was funny. I talked peaceful parenting with Luis J. Gomez on the old show, and that was a great episode that was kind of revelatory to me because I was not familiar with the concept. The first Pinochet shirt my friend made. It's the Pinochet's Helicopters Tours, established 1973. Okay. I toss him. Yeah, I don't know. It's one thing to make. I don't think Michael Ian Black is the bad guy here. At all. Thoughts on Womp Womp? Oh God, wasn't that funny? I mean, after the Womp Womp, I tweeted out, "This is the most aggressive I've ever seen the right wing be in my lifetime," and the reactions were complete meltdowns. Well, this is what you leftists want, or I mean, what, the left isn't aggressive too? It's like, I didn't comment on either of those 2 points. Okay, I'm going to start doing these more frequently. If you're a Patreon person, I'm going to keep the link to Unlisted. Thank you all for the support. And I hope we'll see you on Tuesday with Kathy Young. I think it's going to get feisty. Not heated, because we get along very well, and she's a Russian Jewish as well. So I'm very curious how our paths diverge psychologically. So talk soon. Hope this was worth your while. I'll see you guys on Tuesday.